It's the only time I've ever been sexually abused multiple times. Which is actually a problem.
I don't believe this is a Chuck Schumer government shutdown. I do not believe that.
My understanding, so like the core of this debate over the government shutdown and the spending bill is that Democrats want to extend the ACA benefits to refugees, asylum seekers, and DACA recipients.
That's part of it, sure.
Republicans said absolutely not, because those are illegal immigrants.
Well, when you talk about asylum seekers, I think that's some gray area. But what Democrats want to put in place or to keep in place before the big and beautiful bill is being implemented. That's my basic understanding.
It's like big beautiful bill number 2, because they did have the other one. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, look, I don't agree with the right blaming Chuck Schumer, calling it the Schumer shutdown. I understand the votes that they need. I understand how many Democrat votes they need. I get that. But the last government shutdown we had, last I remember, is back in 2019. We didn't have one under the Joe Biden administration. I could also tell you that this is not, they're putting it all on Chuck Schumer, the right, MAGA. They're putting it all on Chuck Schumer. This is all his fault.
He's the leader.
Yeah, I understand that. But who's in charge of the House? Who's in charge of the Senate right now?
Should they vote to get rid of the filibuster? I think so. I think just crush the filibuster and then Democrats have no argument. I actually agree with Democrats on this one. They're blaming the Republicans for the shutdown, and the Republicans are countering saying, well, it's because we need at least 60 votes for cloture. And I'm just like, or you get rid of the filibuster, and then you make sure Democrats never win another election.
I mean, are Republicans working hard? How many weeks were they on vacation? How many times did Mike Johnson say stay on vacation? Yeah, exactly.
That's the August.
Why can't they sit down and negotiate?
Recess.
Why is Hakeem Jeffries lying when he says Mike Johnson has not called him up to sit down and try to talk and negotiate? Is Hakeem Jeffries lying?
What's the negotiation? Like, that's
the Republicans' responsibility. They have the House and the Senate. It's their job to try to negotiate with Democrats. It's their responsibility.
This is a 2-to-tango situation. And
so why won't they sit down, Tim?
Because they don't need to.
They don't need to?
Indeed.
Look at all the people that aren't getting paid right now.
And Democrats could be like, fine, well, we won't give health care to illegal immigrants, and we'll give you the 5 votes.
You don't think that in Washington, D.C. right now, people don't need to negotiate and sit down and come to terms and get somewhere in the middle?
Well, this is how government shutdowns...
No, you're right. They could just abolish the filibuster and reopen government in seconds.
I understand that, but you're saying that you don't think that Mike Johnson should be reaching out to Democrats when Democrats are reaching out to him and say, okay, listen, we might not get anywhere, but let's at least try.
Well, there's multiple factors here. First, I would say, I already agreed, Republicans could shut this down in 2 seconds by ending the filibuster and the nuclear option. And everyone says, but Democrats will get back in power. Oh, yeah, fucking right. If Democrats get back in power, it's the least of their worries that they might ram stuff through the Senate. So maybe they should just, in the Senate, say, okay, filibuster's gone, government's open. The other issue is Republicans want the government shut down. And I don't care too much about the government shutdown. They want the government shut down because it's giving them pretext to start firing tons of people, which is exactly what Trump wanted to do.
You don't care about brave men and women in uniform not getting paid?
They're getting paid.
They got paid.
Okay, but for a little while they weren't getting paid. You don't care about...
No, they never missed a paycheck.
People at the airport, TSA agents, and people all over the country that are not getting their paychecks. You don't care about that?
I don't.
There's been shutdowns.
What's your argument? Hold on. What's your argument?
What's my argument?
You're a bootlicking fascist who likes government authority and federal agents?
Absolutely not.
Fire them all.
No, I'm actually a human being, and I feel like when people wake up and they go to work, they probably should get paid for it, Tim.
Well, you can quit.
Well, you can quit?
Yeah, see, I'm on the very libertarian spectrum of I don't think government should be as bloated as big as it is. And I actually voted for Trump because he said he was going to fire tons of people. So I'm fine with doing it slowly. But if Democrats are like, we want to give ACA benefits to non-citizens, so we won't reopen the government, and then Trump is like, I'm going to fire people.
Let's backtrack a little bit. Let's backtrack a little bit, Tim, for a moment. Hold on a second. Families and fathers and mothers that are working in all different types of different positions in government jobs, they rely on that paycheck, and they're not getting a paycheck because of a government shutdown, regardless of whether you blame the right or the left.
Should drop their illegal immigrants.
And your response to them would be, I don't care, quit your job?
Well, one of the responses I could say is stop relying on big daddy government to take care of you. My first statement is I'm sorry the Democrats did this to you. Okay, maybe if they didn't want to give ACA benefits to illegal immigrants, the government would be open. Now, Republicans could, as I already mentioned, end the filibuster right now and reopen government, but they don't want to because Trump wants to fire a ton of people. So I'm sitting back being like, well, it's what is it called? The Xanatos Gambit. I was reading about this the other day, where no matter the outcome, your side benefits. Trump's attitude is if Democrats want to give illegal immigrants health care under ACA and keep the government shut down. They won't give us the 5. I think they need, 6 votes?
6, I believe, yeah.
6 votes. And he's like, okay, then the government's shut down. Fine. I'm going to start firing people. Okay. Win-win.
All right.
Well, it's also important who's being fired, right? Because we can talk about police officers, civil servants, et cetera, which is the majority of government workers. But the people that he's really targeting are the 500,000 federal bureaucrats, and they're getting huge payout packages, which is fine. We could pay them 4 times their salaries to quit, and it would still be worth it because they're the ones that are managing the economy without accountability and destroying innovation and costing us unimaginable amount of.
It's just wild to be like. So I'll step back and give you my assessment. The TSA is bad. I've met a lot of TSA agents when I travel, and they're fans, and I respect that. But the agency itself, I think, is a bad expansion of government, and we complained about it when it happened. But the problem is, the government creates something, and then liberals defend it, or independents, or whatever your argument is, right? So amnesty. We get amnesty in the 80s and 90s and 2000s, and once again, it's always gonna be amnesty. At a certain point, you got to be like, guys, we're not doing it a 4th time. It's not going to happen. No amnesty. Everybody's got to go. You're a criminal alien. You got to get out. And then the same thing with government agents and government shutdowns. It's like we've expanded the executive branch. We've expanded federal authority. We've expanded federal law enforcement over and over and over again. And instead of being like, maybe at some point we need to stop and say we're spending too much and expanding government too much, we get the liberal side, which is, no, just this time we need amnesty. Whatever it may be, pay all of them now. Defending the TSA, the liberals were angry about the TSA when H.W. Bush was creating all this stuff.
Yeah, it's the only time I've ever been sexually abused, multiple times. Which is actually a problem.
So I'm pissed off. Republicans out there, particularly MAGA Republicans, they want you to starve. Why do I say that? Well, the big and beautiful bill is not only getting 20 million people off of their health care benefits, but millions of people are going to lose their food SNAP benefits, also known as food stamps. So right now, they're blaming Democrats. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, that some people don't seem to understand. Right now, there's $5 billion, a $5 billion slush fund, for lack of a better term, within the government for emergencies like this one. Republicans are running the House and the Senate. All they have to do is say, hey, until we figure this thing out, we're going to use that money since this is an emergency. Make no mistake about it. This is a fucking emergency. All they have to do is say, let's use those funds right now to buy us a little bit more time so millions of Americans don't lose their SNAP benefits so they can put food on the table. Republicans are failing to do that. Why? So they could just make people in this country suffer and let people think, people maybe that are brainwashed, that watch Newsmax, OAN, or Fox News, that this is all on the Democrats, that the Democrats are starving people. No, Republicans right now have the authority to use this $5 billion slush fund towards SNAP food benefits temporarily until they figure things out in Washington, D.C., and Republicans come back from vacation. They could do it. So why are they not doing it? Well, besides wanting to blame Democrats for their own failings, another reason why they're doing it is because they want to save money while millions of Americans are suffering, losing their health care benefits, losing food stamps. They know that these are the most vulnerable people in our society today that are suffering. But they don't care about these people, many of whom vote for Donald Trump, by the way. They don't care about these people. Who do they really care about besides themselves? Because they have health care. They can put food on the table. Donald Trump's rich friends, the types of people that hang out at Mar-a-Lago, rich white people, that's who these MAGA Republicans really care about. If that wasn't the case, why wouldn't they use these funds? No. But Donald Trump could get a $5.5 billion golf course in Qatar. Donald Trump could get a $400 million jumbo jet as a gift. Donald Trump could give the biggest tax breaks to the top 1% that we've seen ever in the history of this country. Who is this country benefiting? Who in this country is benefiting from Donald Trump's policies? Well, rich white people. That's what it comes down to, ladies and gentlemen. This was never about making America great again. It was about making America white again. And the people that are benefiting from Donald Trump's policies are elitist, rich, middle-aged white people. And yes, there are plenty of white people that are underprivileged, that are, need food, that need healthcare benefits. But Donald Trump isn't appealing to those people, even though so many of them voted for him ignorantly. So ask yourself this question. Why aren't MAGA Republicans using that $5 billion just sitting there right now for emergencies like this one? Why are they not using it? To score political points. They would care more about scoring political points and trying to blame Democrats for this government shutdown than being able to put food on the table for some of their own constituents. It's a fucking joke and it's despicable.
And speaking of people that have done a horrible job with the gavel, let's talk a little bit about Gymnasium Jordan. Remember Gymnasium Jordan, the guy
With the roll up the sleeves?
who was an assistant wrestling coach who allowed what happened to those children at that teenagers?
Oh, you don't like talking about that.
By the way, I've interviewed some of those now adults. So Jim Jordan, as I like to call him, Gymnasium Jordan, or I like to spell his name G-Y-M, was asked by somebody who I have respect for, I think is a very good journalist, and Caitlin Collins. And I think it's important for me to play this entire clip because this is, again, a perfect example, Leonard, of MAGA Republicans who lie about the government shutdown and lie about Obama subsidies, which we know, undocumented immigrants, it is illegal for them to get these Obama subsidies. But if you listen to people like Jim Jordan, they will make it sound like that's what's going on in this country when we know it's the opposite. Have a listen to this exchange.
Think about this. If this were the other way around, if Republicans said, if Mike Johnson said, I voted for a Democrats are in control, I voted for a continuing resolution 6 months ago, but I'm not going to vote for it today because I want, pick the policy. We want tax cuts. We want school choice. We want some other policy. Some policies in the a single policy that we were fighting for that one thing. You guys would lose your mind. You would be like, oh my goodness, you voted for it 6 months ago, but you won't vote for it now because you want this policy. And by the way, no one.
That's not true. That's not fair or true. We've asked Democrats who have been on this show.
You guys would have been on Republicans. I cannot believe
we've asked Democrats who have been on this show what changed, and they said the one big beautiful bill passed, and it changed the Medicaid eligibility requirements.
The one big beautiful bill made clear,
and it changed the Obamacare subsidies.
The one big beautiful bill made clear illegal immigrants can't get health care, and they don't like that.
Illegal immigrants can't get health care, as you know, it's against federal law.
No, they all raised their hand and said they were for it, and the bill that they fought.
What happened on the debate stage is not
Caitlin,
what's in the one big beautiful
website.
bill.
Go to Mike Johnson, Speaker Johnson's website, page 57. I think it's section 2041.
It's talking about people with legal status. Trust us, I'll send you the interview.
But it's right there,
people with legal status,
for God and everybody to see.
DACA, Dreamers, refugees, asylees,
and illegal migrants. Because remember, every single Democrat candidate for president said they were for it.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
But people who are here illegally, as you know, don't have access to Medicare, Medicaid, or the Obamacare subsidies. It's federal law. It's been that way for decades. One question.
Jim Jordan.
That was embarrassing.
Gymnasium Jordan is trying to lie again to the American people, and Caitlin Collins is setting the record straight with facts. And he's making the case because in a Democrat debate, when asked about health care for undocumented immigrants, some candidates put their hands up, which, by the way, is completely academic to what is going on right now. The reason why Democrats are upset, and most of America is, I would think, is because what they, meaning Republicans, put in the big and beautiful bill, which allocates money away from not only those who go to the ER that might be undocumented, but American citizens that are on Medicaid. And it will double, sometimes triple, your premiums for the health care that you are on now, which even Marjorie Taylor Greene is speaking out upon, which I'm going to speak of right now. Now, again, don't laugh, Leonard, because this will probably never happen again in my lifetime.
Big horse legs?
Where in the same day, I agree with Nick Fuentes and Marjorie Taylor Greene.
We got to write the date down.
Let me explain. Marjorie Taylor Greene said, and these are her words, not mine, the reality is they never talk about it, meaning healthcare, the Republicans. And that committee working on, say, health insurance and the industry, that doesn't happen in a secure facility. It's not a major secret. She added that Johnson hasn't reached out to discuss her concerns. When reached for comment, Johnson's office referred back to the Speaker's remarks
yesterday. Marjorie Taylor Greene went on to say, what I am upset over is my party has no solutions. It's not something that we talk about frequently, but it's a reality for Americans, and it's something that I don't think we can ignore. I really want to fix this. The health insurance issue, it's happening right now. These premiums are going to go up for me. These premiums are going to go up double for my kids. Those are the words of Marjorie Taylor Greene. And guess what?
So now she's worried.
She's correct. She's right. Where have you been my whole life, Marjorie? She's right.
Now she's worried because it's affecting her and her children, and she's 100% right. The average middle-class family, by the end of the year, if something doesn't happen, will be paying $5,000 to $6,000 more per year for the same insurance they have right now.
Yeah. So what Marjorie Taylor Greene's saying here is true only because now she's realizing it'll affect her and her family. What Gymnasium Jordan is saying is a complete and utter lie, and they're trying to make the defense
That was a complete
case.
lie.
They're trying to say, well, because you had some Democrats that put their hands up during a debate, we're going to do blah, 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 blah. No, that's not true. That's not what Democrats are trying to do right now. What they're trying to do is walk back what you idiots did with this big, awful bill where 15 to 20 million Americans are going to be losing their health care coverage, and hospitals are going to have restraints on them, and they want hospitals to ask undocumented immigrants if they need life-saving
In a little
care.
over 2 months.
Show us your paperwork. What type of country are we living in where your premiums are going to double and triple? It's insane.
So the Democrats will not have another chance at this because we're talking a little bit over 2 months. It's going to happen. And while they have the leverage, and I agree that there's a lot of bad things, people are going to get laid off, lose their jobs. Already the airports are shutting down, and they don't have enough people to put people through security. But I agree that this is going to be their last stand before December 31st. And if they're going to save the medical coverage at all, they're going to have to do it now. But I also believe, I don't want to belabor the point, but I believe that Chuck Schumer is the wrong person to negotiate
Well,
this
that certainly goes
That's
without
just my
saying.
personal
But
opinion.
again, I go back to what Marjorie Taylor Greene said, and I agree.
Good for her.
I agree with what she just said. For 9 years, we've heard that there was going to be a replacement plan. Where is it? Donald Trump's first administration. Oh, the replacement plan is coming in 2 weeks. It's coming in a month. And then you have, the speaker, Caroline Leavitt, for Donald Trump, who gets up there and can't answer the question. The reason why is because Donald Trump does not have a plan. He doesn't have a plan. He never did have a plan. Now, thank you, Marjorie Taylor Greene, for speaking out, even though you're only doing it because it affects you and your family. So let's not give her too much credit.